I'm Camelia, and this is KiniNews. Perak PAS Chief Razman Zakaria has apologized to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim for his remarks during an election campaign last year. The apology was part of a consent judgment to settle Anwar's defamation suit against Razman. Perak PAS Chief Razman Zakaria apologized to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim at the Ipoh High Court today. This was for claiming that Anwar had condoned LGBT practices during an election campaign last year. The apology was part of a settlement agreement between the two. Anwar's lawyer, SN Nair, said his client had consented to it as a goodwill gesture and to let the matter rest. He added that the settlement had vindicated Anwar. In his apology, Razman undertook never to repeat such claims in the future. Anwar had filed a defamation suit against Razman over the latter's claim that Anwar had said in a campaign speech he would promote an LGBT agenda, allowing same-sex marriage and support the communist agenda if he became Prime Minister. Earlier, it was reported that Anwar issued a letter of demand to Razman, seeking 5 million ringgit in damages and a public apology over the claims. Anwar claimed, among others, that the allegation irreparably damaged his reputation and character as well as severely tarnished his social worthiness. Former Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin has commented on the government's decision to table a white paper on the COVID-19 procurement. According to Khairy, the decision had the approval of the Finance Ministry and the Cabinet. Former Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin has maintained that the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines was done by the book. He said all decisions related to the procurement had the approval of the Finance Ministry and the Cabinet after taking into account the views of all the relevant agencies. Sinar Harian quoted Khairy as saying that the Public Accounts Committee had also previously investigated the vaccine procurement and found it to be in order. Khairy said this in response to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's statement yesterday that the government will table a white paper on the COVID-19 vaccine procurement. Anwar had said that the procurement process did not follow procedure and was signed by the minister without the agreement of the Attorney General's chambers. He said there were also issues related to compliance, management and approval which did not follow procedures, as well as matters involving the cost and amount of vaccines. Meanwhile, Marzuki Muhammad, the former aide to Muhyiddin Yassin, said that the white paper was a waste of time as the issue had been previously cleared by the PAC. He said the PAC chairperson then was DAP MP Wong Kah-Woh, and Anwar's daughter, Nurul Izzah, was a PAC member, and they had confirmed that the procurement was done by the book. Anwar has reaffirmed the government's decision not to allow another round of withdrawal from the Employees' Provident Fund. He said the government would instead look at other measures to help ease the people's financial burden. The government has reaffirmed that they will not allow another round of withdrawal from the Employees' Provident Fund. When quizzed on the matter today, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said the move would negatively affect contributors who are retiring soon, adding many of them are left with a relatively small sum to survive in their old age.
Saya kalau ikut wang dia biar dia keluar, tapi kalau wang dia tinggal 5,000, dia keluar 3,000, pencen 5 tahun lagi, anak beranak semua macam mana?
Anwar added that the government is in the midst of finding ways to reduce people's financial stress without them having to withdraw their EPF savings.
Jadi kita duk cari jalan macam mana nak kurangkan beban dia tanpa menimbulkan beban masa dia besar nanti.
Last month, a group of EPF contributors called on the government to consider another early withdrawal of up to 30,000 ringgit. Anwar had dismissed the idea then, saying it would be better for the government to look into other options to help those gravely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking of Anwar, the Prime Minister confirmed a cut in development allowance for MPs last week. However, not everyone agrees with the cut. Syed Saddiq has called on the government to reconsider the move. Muar MP Syed Saddiq Syed Abdurrahman has commented on the government's decision to cut the development expenditure for MPs. In a post on Twitter yesterday night, he said the government should audit MP's development expenditure instead of slashing it. He shared how he had engaged a firm to audit his expenditure as an MP since he was in the opposition and said that this could be done to enhance integrity. Syed Saddiq added that the money is not a salary or allowance for MPs, but is used to fix damaged school toilets, replace old mosque roofs, and as aid for the poor, such as for food baskets. With this, he hoped that the government would reconsider the move to slash the funding for MPs. Previously, it was reported that MPs will have their 2023 constituency allocations reduced by over 70% from 3.8 million ringgit to 1.3 million ringgit. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim had said that the move was meant to better control the country's finances and would be implemented in stages. He added that the government would consider extending additional allocations if there were pressing needs in a particular parliamentary constituency, such as for repairing infrastructure. Muda has responded to Anwar over his explanation on why the party was not invited to the government's first secretariat meeting. They stressed on the importance of better communication among parties that form the government, regardless of the party's size. Muda Secretary-General Amir Abdul Hadi insisted that the party is one of the founding members in forming and supporting the unity government. Amir said this in response to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's remarks today that the government's first secretariat meeting at the UMNO headquarters on Tuesday was only meant for parties that founded the unity government. When contacted by Malaysia Kini, Amir said although Muda didn't sign the coalition agreement, they are also founding members of the government. He said without them, the government won't be what it is today. He then stressed the importance of better communication among parties that form the government, regardless of the party's size. Amir added that they expect better communication from the government when it comes to holding official meetings in the future and on decisions made. He said that all parties have a role to play and have to answer to their members and supporters. Yesterday, Amir had taken to Twitter to vent his frustrations after Muda was kept in the dark about the government's first secretariat meeting. He said Muda did not receive an invitation to attend the meeting, nor was the party informed about it. So what was the reason that Anwar gave for Muda being left out of the meeting? This was what Anwar said today when quizzed on the matter. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has clarified that the government's first secretariat meeting, which he chaired at UMNO headquarters on Tuesday, was only meant for parties that founded the unity government. He said this in response to a question on Muda's statement that the party had been left in the dark on the meeting.
Mesyuarat itu hanya mesyuarat parti-parti yang mengasas kerajaan perpaduan. Yang lain itu tentu akan dibawa kerana mereka ini juga penyokong kerajaan perpaduan.
Yesterday, Muda Secretary-General Amir Abdul Hadi had vented his frustration over the matter on Twitter. Amir said that Muda did not receive an invitation to attend the meeting, nor was the party informed about it. It was understood that besides Muda, Sabah-based Social Democratic Harmony Party or KDM was also not represented at the meeting. Leaders from other parties in the federal government including BN, Pakatan Harapan, GPS, GRS and Warisan had attended the meeting. Former 1MDB CEO Shahrul Azral Ibrahim Halmi was removed as a moderator from a government event. This came after a poster of the event made the rounds on social media, drawing backlash from netizens. Former 1MDB CEO Shahrul Azral Ibrahim Halmi has been removed as one of the moderators for an electric vehicle conference. This came after the poster made the rounds on social media, drawing backlash from netizens, with some hitting out at the organizer, the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, for inviting an individual who was allegedly responsible for weaknesses in the 1MDB fund. Following this, Malaysia Kini was made to understand that Shahrul, who is president and co-founder of the Malaysian EV Owners Club, has been replaced with Malaysia Productivity Corporation Deputy Director General Mazrina Muhammad Ibramsah. A poster of the event, titled Gearing Up for EV Revolution, showed that conference will be officiated by International Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz, with Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad also featured as an invited guest. Nik Nazmi said that when the poster was forwarded to him, he had immediately informed the organizers that he will only attend the event if Shahrul's invitation is retracted. Meanwhile, Shahrul told Malaysia Kini that he respects the decision by MIDA and said that he will continue to advocate the use of EVs. He added that he understood the sentiments and respected the organizers' request. In May 2021, it was reported that 1MDB and its former subsidiary, SRC International, filed civil suits amounting to $23 billion against various parties who have been accused of defrauding the state-owned firms. The individuals included former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, former 1MDB CEOs Shahrul and Arul Kanda Kandasamy, as well as family members of fugitive businessperson Low Tek Jo. However, SRC International withdrew its civil action against Shahrul in July 2021. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.